Hey guys, it's Mr. Rysz here. So I'm making these videos to help you guys out with each part of this assignment, and I'm going to try to do this throughout the whole year. So if you're ever struggling or anything, you're confused on how to do a part, just watch one of these videos and I'll walk you through it step by step. So this is going to be part one here, taking a picture. Now what I like to do is I like to have my screen split screen so I can have the instructions on one side and then my app inventor on the other side, and then, well, you can't see it there. You can kind of see it now. I still have my tablet in my hand that I can use back and forth. So this is a good way to kind of go back and forth with things. It's kind of weird. Why is that not published? Oh, probably because I haven't unlocked these for you guys yet. Okay, so we're going to do this now. This is the first assignment from the project Lead the Way, so we're going to get used to everything going on here. So the app overview. So we're going to design here a little digital doodle. So you're going to create an app that allows a user to take a picture, then draw on that picture. Might sound kind of familiar. For replay value, the device screen will clear whenever the user shakes the device. Each of these items is called an app feature, because it describes a specific thing that an app may do. An abbreviated tutorial of this app and many others can be found on App Inventor website that we could go to. So here's the user story. So this is the background, what we want the user to know, okay? Each feature in the app can be described as a user story. User stories define and prioritize the work you do. The user stories for the Digital Doodle app includes 3 user interactions. We need to have an app event that allows the user to take a picture when they touch a button. Another event that allows a user to touch a screen and swipe gestures and input to draw on the picture. And finally, an app event that allows the shake of the device to clear all the outputs. Okay, so here's the initial backlog that we need to do. We'll need to push a button to take a picture. We'll need to draw on the picture. We'll need to clear the picture. We'll need to change the color they draw if the time permits and change the width of the line. We might get to do those, but you can see what goes through here. So in design terminology, so this is bigger, like if you're engineering, you'd break down the same thing that we just did here. But I'd say you guys can scroll on through this and we're gonna go straight to step 1. And first step 1 is creating an MIT App Inventor account, which we've already done. We've messed around with it a little bit to create the basic app. So we can skip step 1 here. We go on to step 2. All right, so we're gonna start a new project. Now, all projects I want you guys to name this way. Put your initials here, or first initial and then last name, put your name in there, and then 1-1 and then P1. We're gonna send different iterations of this game, and I don't want you guys to get lost. So we're on part 1 here, so make sure you call this P1. If you later on submit P1 when you're supposed to submit P4, part 4, it might get messed up. So we're always gonna save. The other reason why we do this is sometimes we might be working on part 3, and then when we start part 4, we realize we made a mistake. We don't know what we did, and we have to go all the way back. Well, we always want to keep part 3. If that was good to go, keep that there, keep that in a memory bank, and we always save as. All right, so the designer view, here we go, is where you can create the user interface, and this is what we're looking at. And then we have the blocks view that we talked about before, which gets us the code. So make sure you know the difference between designer and blocks. All right, the components, which we've talked about before, are the buttons here. So we're gonna have to add some features here. First, on the designer user interface, we're on step 3 now. We're gonna drag out a button. So we're gonna drag out a button. We're gonna drag out in the drawing and animations drawer, so that's over here on the left. We're gonna drag out a canvas. And from the media drawer, we're gonna drag out the camera, which is a non-visible component, so that would only appear over here in the components page. In the designer view, select the button, which we have over here, and let's look at its list. So we're gonna change some properties with this. All right, so you can see here, we want this to say, take a picture. So it's text. We're gonna change to down here now. Take my picture. Yeah, so the one thing that we're gonna do is get used to, the user will see this, but this is what we're seeing on our screen. All right, next we're gonna get the event handlers. Well, let's see, do we want to change anything about that? No, we'll just leave that button as it is. Okay, next we're going to look for event handlers. Event handlers looks for inputs or events when to perform a specific action and provide specific outputs. So some event handlers are control blocks that are specified to a component in App Inventor. Event handlers abstract the details of the structures that enable them or disable the control over the components you drag and drop inside them. So it's taking away all that big, messy information and making it simpler for you to work with. Each block in App Inventor is doing a lot of work for you behind the scenes. The abstraction keeps you from seeing and dealing with all the details that you don't really care about. So in this example here with the blocks, we're going to look at the event handler. In the control, not the control, right here on buttons, we're going to drag out one button, one dot click. All right, so this is actually doing a whole lot of work here in Python, this command here, but we just see this as button one dot click. And then we're going to click camera, and we're going to go to camera and take a picture. So as a developer, you would waste time writing the same code to take a picture every time you use that feature in app. So this code is bundled in procedure block for repeated use. So anytime this is happening, we're going to repeat this loop here. So you don't have to rewrite the code over and over each time. The App Inventor abstracts away those details. So all the little code, all the ones and zeros, the if, else, and then statements that are all going on, we don't see those. They're all built inside of these buttons that we just dragged out, okay? If you ever want to know more about those, you can learn about the Intro to Programming class that is available here in school. So App Inventor, what's called abstracts, which means take away the details. So you can just focus on the app and all the features above it. So you can see there's actually different levels of coding too, what we're going to talk about. Some people like this coding where they can do more interactive things and get really into it. Other people like to worry about all the tiny details. So those are two different levels of people that are doing similar jobs, but they do very different things each day. So the abstraction hides the complexity of the task by concealing the details and making it easier for the computer scientists to focus on the relevant steps of creativity and developing code. So if we go to the blocks view here, we have some things that we've already set up. So we got the camera drawer that we draw out to take a picture. In there too, there's some other things. We're going to drag out in the canvas drawer. So right here, we're going to drag out set background image 2. And we're also going to drag out from the camera drawer after picture and button. So we got some other things here that have gone on. So if you cannot find those, okay, we're going to make sure to verify that the components in the drawer are on our panel. So we have all these. We got the take picture, we got the button one click, everything. We got those. If the components are not in the designer view, add it to the designer. So if you're missing anything, make sure you have these components here on your screen. If not, go back. But it should be fine if you're watching this video. All right, so next what we're going to do, we're going to drag this in and we're going to move our mouse over the image text, and without clicking, we're going to get the get image block. And we're going to drag it onto the end. So what this is going to do after we take a picture, so we press the button, it's going to call the camera to take a picture, and you'll see that's going to be its own separate little thing that pops up. After we set the picture, it's going to set the canvas one's background color. Ooh, should not be color, should be image, to whatever that image was that we just got. So an event handler is a chunk of code that executes or is put into action when a particular event occurs. To create an interface with an event handler, the MIT App Inventor lets you drag one or more blocks to event handlers. So look at the when, do, button.click. So if we have this here, or actually if we just look at this, each time this event happens, so every time the button is clicked, we're going to call the camera one. It calls that event. So the blocks work like a puzzle piece. Either the blocks fit together or you'll need to revisit on how you're using one of the blocks. So I can't just like take some of these blocks and put them in here. So I can't just do button get image. They only work in certain ways. All right, so we construct two event handlers from the blocks that we pulled, which we just made here, and think through, okay, what event does the button trigger, no, what event button triggers an event handler button click to make what action called. So if you think about it, we click the button, that's the event, calls the event handler, the whole thing here, to call the action to take a picture. After the picture event, so that's an event that's called after it, it's almost like they're nested in, we're gonna see the camera. So what I'm gonna have you guys do is we're gonna test this out right now, and if it works, we're gonna submit the AIA. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my tablet out, and I'm gonna go to the MIT app companion app, which you guys can probably maybe see. Maybe if I turn off my virtual background, I'm gonna do that. Let's turn off. Yeah, we don't need to get too messy. Get to see my really long hair that needs a haircut. Okay, so we got this. So I'm gonna go back to the App Inventor, and I'm gonna click Connect AI Companion. I can scan that QR code. Scanning, it's loading, and I'm gonna full screen my window here to see if this works. Okay, so very simple though. I got just, I don't know if you guys can see it here, a very small button up here that says take a picture. I'm gonna click that. Get a nice little camera that pops up. I'm gonna click the picture, and I'm gonna set the picture. Now, if we look, we have a background here that is saved. Okay, that looks good to me. We can adjust those features later, but we got an app right now that lets us take a picture and set the background. So we're gonna send the AIA. So if you forgot, I'll show you guys once again how to do this. We're gonna go to build, no, not build, but my projects. We're going to export selected project.aia to the computer. And that's going to save right to your Google Drive, and then you guys will submit that. So we're going to end that video here. I'll show you guys part 2 in the next one. Have a great one.